talked about the subject of W sitting last week on Kids Connection, talking about some of the effects that sitting that way can have on your child. And today we're going to dive into it a little bit deeper. Seriann Swiontek joins me from Red Door Pediatric Therapy to discuss the subject a little further. Good morning to you, Seriann.
Good morning.
Well, let's review for those who didn't see the segment last week. Tell me again, what is W sitting?
W sitting is simply when you're looking at your child from above, you'll look and you'll see they look like a W with their hips and their legs. So what it is when your bottom is resting on the floor between your legs, your hips will be turned in. You'll notice the knees are bent with your legs rotating away from your body, so those legs will turn out. And then your feet will generally turn out, but they can also turn in depending on the child.
Okay, now I'm just looking at that picture. You see that a lot with kids, and they just instinctively plop down like that. Why is it, do you think, Seriann, that kids actually sit that way?
A lot of kids do it because it's easier for them. It's easy to play with our toys and maintain that nice upright position to play with toys, especially as we're growing and our muscles are getting stronger. We might not be strong enough yet to sit up and play, but with this position gives us more ease. It gives us a wider base support, so similar to, you think of a table where it has that nice big base on it. It allows to support that table, similar to a child, so it has that big base support. They can easily play and they don't have to worry about getting tired as fast.
Wow.
They don't use those tummy muscles as much either, because to maintain that nice upright posture like we are supposed to do every day, they can kind of just hang out on that base support of those legs and they can still play with all those toys. They have a lower center of gravity when they play like this, so those leg muscles don't have to work as hard as well. And a lot of times when they are sitting in this position, they're actually using the ligaments that are what connects our muscles and our bones, and it can even be a little bit of a springy feeling to them. So they might like that input of that little bounciness, similar to what Gina talked about last week with that sensory side. So a lot of times it is just an easier position for kids, and that's why they do it.
So you look at that picture again that we showed a little while ago. A lot of people will go, wow, look at that flexibility to be young like that and to be able to sit like that, you know, with your bottom on the ground and your legs like that. So why, tell me, Seriann, why that is a problem?
Generally, we consider it a problem after this kid uses it as their primary form of sitting. So it is really typical between ages 1 to 3 for a kid to sit like this, because like I said, they're still getting stronger, they're making those muscles grow, but they might not be strong enough yet. And especially because their main job is to play with toys, so they want to play as long as possible. So we say it is a problem when your kid is using this all the time as their primary form of sitting. And it is okay if they are transitioning in and out of sitting like this, but if we see them for extended lengths of time in this position, like you said, they gain so much flexibility. So with that becomes a muscle imbalance, we call it. So if you have so much motion with those hips turning in, that means our hips aren't able to turn out as much because we gain so much motion turning in. So those muscles on the inside they get more weak because they get more stretched out. And the muscles on the outside get super, super strong in a sense that they're getting pulled too tightly, but not necessarily super strong, but just pulled to excess, and then they get too tight to even turn out. So sitting crisscross may become really tricky for that kiddo because they can't turn their hips out, and that's going to be the opposite of that W sit. So the main thing is that muscle weakness that we see with the legs, and also our tummy muscles, because we don't have to use them to sit up nice and tall. We're just hanging on those ligaments in our hips. We don't see as strong as tummy muscles as well. Orthopedically, so looking at our kid running, a lot of times we see if a kid is W sitting, there's a correlation with them being an in-toer when they walk. Otherwise, pigeon toeing is sometimes what they call it. So when they walk, you'll see those toes point in at each other. And a lot of times even with running, and then you see that tripping and falling more because they're tripping over those feet because they're hitting each other when they run. Coordination-wise, with that big base of support, it's harder to move our body from our left side to our right side, as we call weight shifting, to reach for toys. So a lot of times it'll be trickier for kids to reach with that right hand across to that left side of the body to grab a toy, or reach with that left hand to our right side to grab a toy. So coordination can also be affected. And then long-term problems down the road. So because of that postural or weaker tummy muscles, they might have difficulty with posture down the road as an adult. They may have more back pain or hip pain down the road because we have that muscle imbalance that persisted. And like you said, that excess range of motion. those muscles, they have so much movement, but then if we don't have the muscle stability to control that movement, it causes an abnormal muscle imbalance that then can cause problems down the road.
If parents see this and they see this segment and they go, wow, my child sits like that a lot, what are some things that parents can do? We're down to about a minute, Seriann.
Okay. Our most common thing we like to say is fix your legs. So that's a phrase we use for kids, and that's just that little reminder to let's sit crisscross applesauce. Let's sit in a side sit position, or let's sit in that long sit position with our legs straight out in front of us. We can use sticker charts for the days that we don't have to give as many cues. Let's give them that positive affirmation that they did something great today. It's motivating for them. You can all sit down as a family and let's all sit crisscross while we play a board game. You can encourage gross motor skills outside, such as hopscotch, or using a crack in the sidewalk as a balance beam to kind of work on that balance that may be affected, that coordination, and that strength. Playing a game of Twister, all that will help your child.
All right, Seriann, Red Door Pediatric Therapy, how do we get a hold of you with questions about this or any other subject that parents or guardians may want to talk to you about?
You can find us in Bismarck, Minot, and Grand Forks, and you can reach us at 701-222-3175.
Seriann Swiontek with Red Door Pediatric Therapy, thank you so much for filling in the gaps on this subject. We appreciate your time.
Thanks.
All right, stay with us. We've got much more coming up on North Dakota Today, and that'll continue right after this.